Hey, Martin and Phil, how are you? I really appreciate the time that we had over breakfast today and really appreciate the conversation that we had. I wanted to come back to the office today and just kind of recap and document some of the things that we learned, that I learned, and that I shared with you so that you can process it as you're looking to do the things that you are. Number one, I really appreciate your effort to drive operational excellence throughout L&W Supply. The things you're doing with the inventory, the fleet, Home Depot, cash COD customers, ceilings, steel sourcing, you guys have a ton on your plate. And knowing now that you're also have just recently gone through a reorganization, down to that branch level, where you've separated sales out to drive sales proficiency throughout that sales organization, to better and in a more compelling way, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but in a better way, focus on the customer and that customer engagement, so that our sales team is out in the field, 80% of the time rather than 20% of the time. And then, in this reorganization, your efforts to enhance accountability. Phil, you said it, the need to bring more rigor and standardization throughout the organization. Again, I applaud what you guys are doing there. If you don't mind, just kind of sum up one thought that I discussed over breakfast today. I got about a 2.5-minute video clip of me talking to a group of business owners and VPs of sales about the need to bring that type of rigor and standardization. If you don't mind, let's just take a listen to that, and then I'll come back and talk specifically about what we talked about over breakfast today.
Guys, as I work with organizations every day of my life, I'll sit down with the president, CEO of the organization, you, the VP of sales, and what I find is that most organizations I work with have spent a great deal of time, money, energy, and effort re-engineering their business. Take a look at it, man. They've re-engineered their accounting processes. They've re-engineered their logistics. They've re-engineered their warehousing. Man, you guys have re-engineered your marketing strategies. You guys have re-engineered your product offering by adding move services and technology capabilities to the furniture. I've seen all that. Most businesses will re-engineer the entire organization because they know that if we re-engineer it, they know if we put in new processes, they know if we put in standards and we hold people accountable to those standards, what's going to happen to the performance and productivity in those functional areas? It's going to improve. So we re-engineer the entire business. Except what area of the business? Yeah. We re-engineer the entire business except when it comes to sales and sales management. We don't take the same philosophy, the same thinking that says if we find ways to standardize, if we find ways to bring processes, if we find ways to bring systems, if we find a way to capture best practices, that's going to help us drive performance and productivity like it does in the other areas. We don't take that same thing into sales. In fact, have you seen this? The diagram is, these represent different salespeople we have selling for us. Let's say you and I go to a sales organization. And let's say we go to the organization and they've got 30 salespeople out there selling furniture, man. Let's say you and I go to this organization, they have 30 different salespeople out on the street, and we sat in the right-hand seat of the car with 30 different salespeople. My question to you is this. How many different selling systems do you think we'd find in that organization that has 30 different salespeople? Maybe 32, right? Somebody's doing 2 or 3. The fact is this, you guys answered it. The fact is, come on, man, we are allowing our sales organization to do what? We're allowing them to do what they want to do. We're allowing them to do what they think they should be doing. Gentlemen, ladies, I got news for you. I don't know how good of a manager you are. But I know how good of a manager I am, and I ain't that good. I can't manage 30 different processes. I can manage what? I can manage one. I can manage one. You see, we allow the sales team to do we don't take that holistic look. As we work with sales organizations, man, have you heard of Ram Charan? Look, this isn't just our research, man. Ram Charan, the consultant to the CEOs around the world, a little bit ago, he had an article in the Wall Street Journal. The article was titled, Next in Line for Reinvention, The Art of Selling. Here's what Graham Sharan said in the Wall Street Journal. He said, I began to see companies with good strategies, good technologies, good costs, asking, why are we not getting results? I found many companies had focused on the back end of the business, operations, accounting, finance, overhead, but the sales force had been what? Neglected. Gentlemen, ladies, those organizations that consistently take more from the market than the market's prepared, they do not neglect.
So I do believe that if we're going to drive profitable, consistent, organic growth, we cannot leave things to chance in the sales organization as we described in front of that group. Martin, you had asked, that when we're together, what I share with you is some of the things that we've seen distributors, successful distributors, do to drive that sales success through change efforts, if you will. And the things we talked about today aren't theory. They are things that companies like Berlin Packaging here in Chicago have implemented over the years to drive growth that averages over 15 to 17% growth over the last 10 years or so, while their industry only grew at 3%. And they did that through organic efforts. Outselling the competition. They've been able to drive 22,000% net income improvement in this economic environment. Another organization out on the West Coast that's been hit by the economic environment like the building supplies industry has, that's the marine industry, a company by the name of Port Supply. Last year, while their industry started to rebound and grew about 7%, Port Supply was able to grow at 13%, doubled the growth of the sales or their competitors. Graybar, we've talked about Graybar because that's how we were introduced through Kathy Mazzarella. What is Graybar in the process of doing to change the culture of that sales organization so that they can drive mediocrity out of the organization? So as we discussed at breakfast, what I wanted to do is just give you what we believe, what we see organizations like these and others need to do to drive those types of success in change efforts, if you will. So we talked about 5 critical success factors. Let's look at each one of those, if you don't mind. Okay? Here you go. The 5 critical success factors are, we've got to talk about the need for a holistic sales system, the need to bring proprietary and customized content to the team, the need to integrate inspiring events that generate belief, the need for continuity in learning and coaching, we'll talk about it, and then the need for collaboration. So let's start with the first critical success factor, and that is the process to have a plan to drive sales beyond consistent, profitable, organic growth. And if we're going to do it, it begins with defining, understanding, and integrating our guiding ideas. We believe, we have found that if any effort is going to have sustainability long term, it's got to be intimately tied into the vision, the values, the mission, the purpose of the organization. Everything that's brought to the sales team in this case must be built upon those guiding ideas. At L&W, from my quick research, your sales organization, the company, the organization is positioned as a solution provider, delivering quality, experience, and service. You work to help customers achieve success. And then, I know the values of USG are important to L&W. Safety, quality, service, efficiency, innovation. What does all that mean to a sales and a sales management team? Too often these types of guiding ideas are just sitting on a wall, and the salesperson who's going out calling on those contractors every day haven't internalized it. Well, if we're going to drive profitable, consistent, organic growth, we've got to start with those guiding ideas, and everything has got to flow from there. Now, once we've got that foundation, once we understand that everything's got to flow from there, the consistent, profitable, organic growth, as we talked about over breakfast, is that sales management system. What is the defined process? What is the rigor? What are the best practices that we're going to package as a plan, as a system, that's going to provide a roadmap for our sales management as to how they're going to coach, train, reward, motivate, discipline, coach, mentor the sales organization. And it's possible to define that, and it needs to be done. Then we can talk not about sales training, but we can talk about defining the L&W way. If we say we sell solutions, if we sell, we innovate, if we say we deliver quality, if we say that we help customers achieve success, well then by gosh, we've got to define specifically what we mean by that. What are the processes? What are the systems? What are the tools? What are the types of success that we are going to be driving our customers towards. All that needs to be defined in a sales system. So the first critical success factor is we need to put in place this holistic plan that is comprised of at least those three component parts. All right. The second critical 4 efforts that you're looking to put in place with a sales organization to have sustainability and to get traction and to be sticky, if you will, you need to ensure that you deliver proprietary content. There is content in terms of how to manage, how to sell, a galore. You can go to American Management Association, you can go to the Office of Sales, you can go to the library. But if you really want it to work, when your people go to those, go seize that content online, in manual, whatever, in the classroom, it's got to be proprietary. And the content has got to be authored to provide context. It's got to provide definition. It's got to provide the meat. It's got to provide the tools. It's got to provide the how-to. And what you see on the screen is, in fact, that customized sales management system. You'll see nowhere else, because this was developed by and for and with Graybar in terms of their proprietary process for managing the sales team. And then when the people go to the process online in other avenues, it's 100% customized to them. So proprietary content is critical to ensuring that your team sees that, you know what, this is a way of life. It's not a training program. It's a way of life. It's something that my company believes in. It's something my executive management believes in. And by gosh, it's the way we need to do business. So number 2, proprietary content. The third thing that we talked about in any types of these efforts is there need to be inspiring events that generate belief. These types of events, you're going to be asking very successful, sometimes very senior individuals. You're going to be looking to sell them, if you will, on the need to change, on the need to evolve. And you know what? If they were, I don't want to say capable, but you know what? They're not spending 80% of their time in front of the customer for a reason. They're not selling solutions to the degree we want for a reason. They're not selling the entire value proposition for a reason. And so these efforts are designed to change behavior. They're designed to change skill levels. And so we need to inspire individuals to generate belief that A, what the company is asking them to do is the right thing, that it is possible, and that they themselves have the capabilities for this type of growth and this type of development. So there's inspiring events. There's outsiders like us are often asked to do that. But importantly, the ongoing communication from management, we find can be and should be part of these inspiring events, touches that get people to believe. So if you don't mind, again, another real quick montage here of how we've seen some executives like yourselves and others continue to communicate. So real quick here.
Sales management role in growing profitably is to set that example for the sales rep that it's more important to have a profitable order than just to write any order. Now, profit can be defined a variety of ways, but you need to make margin. As an organization, we deserve to make profit. We're worth the profit. And sometimes we get so caught up again in just writing the order that we forget the value proposition that we have in the order.
We've had a saying since the company started, delivering the goods since 1865. And we've been in the delivery business and in the distribution business and personally involved with any type of building supply you can imagine over those 140 plus years. We came up with the mission to deliver the right products and services to the right customer at the right time, because we feel like it meets our purpose both tactically and strategically.
I think the purpose as defined is helping those we touch achieve their goals. I think it really talks about who we are. We have to create this, if we're going to be successful, we have to create this triangle of trust between our employees, our suppliers, and our customers. And they have to trust that we are taking actions that are in their best interest.
Okay, there you go. And so the fourth critical success factor to ensure the success of these types of initiatives, there has to be continuity. Over breakfast, I kind of outlined for you what we have found to be, you know, a learning process that must be in place to drive results. And the first thing we need to do is we need to get our sales team or sales management team the knowledge. How is it that we're going to ask you to manage the sales team? How is it that we're going to ask you to drive solutions for our contractors? Then once you've tested out of that, once you see it, you've got to be able to apply it. You've got to stop, pause, and think, and really think about how you're going to apply this new methodology to your territory, to your team, or to your contractors and to your customers. Then once you salespeople, you got to work one-on-one with the contractor, and you got to execute it. You're going to succeed, you're going to fail, but you got to get out there and you got to execute it and try it and learn from your successes. So there's a learning process that provides ongoing continuity of development, but then importantly, those steps are laid out over a period of time, and it's all integrated so that when you're giving your people the knowledge, there's a reason for that, to gain that knowledge and to get that new insight. But then you're going to ask them to go through a process over a period of days to apply it and then feed it back to you. And then have your management review it, and maybe virtually, maybe one-on-one. But they're going to review it and give some coaching and some mentoring touches like that. One of the things we're most proud of, as we said as we were walking to breakfast, is Graybar and our other clients, their ability to really roll up the sleeves and look at the thinking of their people after the training and give that insight, because that's how it's going to stick. And then we got to execute it, and that means the sales manager's got to get in the car with the sales representative, and they've got to try coaching. And they've got to execute it. They've got to see what works, and they've got to see what doesn't work. And the same with the sales team. They've got to get out there in the field making the calls. Then ideally, man, you're going to be repurposing what works and what doesn't work into best practices. There's ways to put together best practices databases so that we can continue to grow and develop. And then the fifth and final is collaboration. And if we're going to continue to succeed in this process, we've got to find those successes. We've got to give individuals the ability to say, you know what, man, I tried this and it worked. Let me show you how that worked. And by the way, here's the process. Here's the tools. Here's what I said. Here's what didn't work. But man, here's the process. And if you want to coach, if you want to reward, if you want to sell a solution, whatever the topic is, there's ways to collaborate and get people talking and sharing relative to the implementation and execution. And that, in fact, also contributes to driving results. So, guys, I really enjoyed breakfast today, enjoyed the conversation. I appreciate it. Hope I added value to your day and your thinking. Again, I love what you're doing in terms of driving operational excellence as you continue to reorganize that sales organization and then drive, look to drive sales efficiency, focus on customer engagement, drive enhanced accountability. I hope these critical success factors and the things we talked about over lunch or breakfast, and then these thoughts right now, I hope that they stimulate some thinking and help you do the things that you want to and need to do at L&W Supply. So again, I appreciate it and look forward to talking to you in the near future.